Hello, YouTubers. Joe Kersey here at 18:06 Eastern Time on New Year's Eve, December 31st, 2017. Cheers. Now, I'm going to give you all fair warning. Fair warning. Put the dogs and kids away on this one. Put the dogs and kids away on this one. Because I'm going to tell you some fun stuff. At least it's fun stuff for me. But it is raw. So you have been warned. Put the dogs and kids away. Well, having said that, let's get into the fun stuff. I just got off the Skype with my friend Tony in Seattle, and he was talking about watching this TV show called The Pickers, and I guess some guy had a barn full of old Model A's or partial Model A's and things like this. Excuse me. And I got, thinking about my friend. My friend. Now, sadly, now my friend is dead. He fell down the stairs and brained himself here back in, I think it was in July of, oh gosh, about, it's over 3 years ago now. That's sad. He was a good guy. And he was a hell of a good internist down in North Carolina, near the South Carolina border. And actually, his daughter was my goddaughter. And she just got married here in May and graduated from law school and passed the bar. And is now working for a very nice law firm in Columbia, South Carolina. But he liked to collect antique cars. Now we're talking high-end antique cars for the most part. I mean, the Model A was a bit of a down market thing for him. He had a Bentley that he used as his everyday car. Well, that was at one point. Then before that, he had kind of a vintage Rolls Royce he used as his everyday car. Now, he was really into that kind of stuff. So he ended up with, I think he had in his collection, he had two more or less quasi-vintage Rolls Royces. He had, I think, a 49 or 51 Jeepster, which was the civilian version of the Jeep. That Willys brought out after the war, World War II. And he had it was I think it was a 61 or 63 Corvair that had been his dad's, and I actually had hauled that thing down from their garage in Columbus, where he grew up, on a U-Haul trailer. I hauled that down to where he lived in North Carolina one day, and he had it restored. I mean, he did some of it, then he had other people come in and do stuff he couldn't do. And he drove that around for a while as his everyday car. Well, he drove the Jeepster around. He used those two cars as kind of like everything. Of course, then he used his Bentley, and when he had a Rolls Royce, and he kept. I don't think he sold it. I think he kept it. So he had the two in his collection. Well, he built a purpose-built garage to house these things. It had a hoist in it, and he had He had an oil pit, where he could, drive these things over and do work underneath the car. It was very nice, and he had a little office area in the back, and actually had a bathroom there, a separate can where you could shower, if he got all greased up and things. And I think he even had like a place where he had a little bed in the back in case he wanted to basically hide out, It's always good to have a hideout. Doesn't matter what age you are. And then he had a Model A, which is getting around to the point of the story. Excuse me. So he got this Model A. So one day he says, when I'm done, I used to go down there about 6 times a year. And I'd stay 2 or 3 days. Well, I'd stay about 3 days usually, and 4 days sometimes. He had this Model A, and he says, well, let's go down to South Carolina and look for antiques. Well, that was basically his wife saying, let's go down to South Carolina and look for antiques. So we did. Now, I sat in the back of this Model A, and I had no idea there was basically no legroom in the back of a Model A. And there isn't. But anyway, so we went from, they only lived about 5 or 6 miles north of the South Carolina border. And then we went down maybe probably 10 miles into South Carolina, and we stopped at this antique store, which looked like just like your standard South Carolina shotgun shack along the road, just crammed full of antiques, with a sign out front said antique store. You had the proprietor in there. He's one of these kind of grizzled good old boys, which is always fun to deal with them because they're good old boys, they are. They're solid ears, and he was carrying on about each piece that anybody exhibited interest in. That wasn't quite the piece I was interested in. The piece I was interested in was definitely not an antique, and it was definitely one of a kind. It was his, I think it was, this guy was either somewhere between 19, 21, and 22. His son, who, this is probably around 1995, 1996. We're talking about Deep South stuff here now, guys. So, this guy was sitting on a stool off to the side when we came in, and all the way through all this stuff that his dad was pattering on about. And he says, "Oh, I should introduce you to my son." So he introduced us to his son. He didn't quite lower his head when he says he's in nursing school down at University of South Carolina. Well, nothing wrong with that. Tons of male nurses now. But they had to start somewhere. And in the South at that time, that would have been somewhat daring do for a guy to do that. Meanwhile, this guy's sitting there. He only has a pair of gym shorts on. It's hot. It's South Carolina. It's like 93 degrees. Brad's got his, long pants and suit jacket on and a tie and all this kind of stuff. I actually, I decided I'd outrage the whole batch of them and wear a short sleeve shirt and a pair of shorts. That's like insulting God in this man's household, to do that. When you're out in public, give me a break. It's the South. It's hot. So this guy's sitting there. He's on a stool, and he's got his leg one leg up on the rungs, and if you stood in just the right spot, which I guess I found out the right spot fairly quickly, didn't I? Look right up his thigh, these nice, wonderful, hairy thighs that I really get a kick out of. And you could see one of his balls and his cock hanging down the pant leg. Not out the edge, not out the end, but just there. You could see it. Well, of course, he caught right on that I was saying that, and he caught, I caught right on, he caught right on. So I decided I'd stop perusing stuff in the store, and I'd just sort of stand there. I didn't think I wanted to go over and initiate conversation with this guy, with, the current other people in the milieu, but, so when we left, time to leave, or at least Brad's wife had pronounced it was time to leave. So he came out and stood on the porch. It's one of these kind of like veranda things on the front porch, and like a side, a rail or a support post. And he came out and leaned on the support post. Shirtless, of course, and you could kind of, he stood such that you could sort of get an idea of the size of his package. There's, I was shepherded into the Model A to be driven back to, join the straight world again. I've got to pause now because I'm getting messages out the wazoo. Sorry about that interruption. That was my good neighbor Liz, and on a completely unrelated matter to anything I've ever told you guys about. So I asked her to give me about 10 more minutes. I don't think I'll use them all. Now, when I last left you, I was in the Model A, and we're going back to straight land. S-T-R-A-T-E, straight land. Well, I'd had my day brightener for that day. It was wonderful, very nice. So now again, I reiterate, put the dogs and kids away on this part because this is going to get moderately explicit. Now, my friend had an in-ground pool out there, and he had a pool house. And it was always fun to go stay at these phones here. Go away. There we go. It was always fun to go down there because you stay in the pool house, and then, particularly in the summertime, you could just walk right out and go swimming in his pool. And he'd go to work in the morning and say, enjoy your day, and to his credit, it wasn't like they had this agenda for me to follow while I was there. And his wife, if I was lucky, would go off and do something for the better part of the day, which meant that I could get in that pool, or I could do anything I wanted for that matter, but I'd get in that pool, and there was a fence around it, and it was down in there, and nobody, you can get naked, and nobody's going to see you naked in that pool unless somebody wanders up, I joined new when the handyman and repairmen and servicemen and bug control men were going to show up. In which case, then I wouldn't get in the pool naked. But sometimes nobody's going to show up, so I'd get in the pool naked. Now, Brad was, God bless him, he was really obsessive. He's the guy that took the fireplace brush and straightened the fringe on his Persian rugs so it's at right angles all the way around. he did that 2 or 3 times a day. So, of course, every time I saw him do that, I'd go in there and I'd mess it up. And he'd sigh in despair. I kept hoping he'd blame the cat or something. And straighten it back up. But he was also, and sometimes it's good to be obsessive about some things. He was very obsessive about making sure the water quality in his pool was okay. He had this great battery of chemicals and bags and testing kits and things. And first thing he did in the morning when he went out in the summertime, he'd go out and he'd test that water in the pool. Okay. And generally, since he had kind of adjusted it probably the night before, he didn't have to do anything. He just wanted to be sure it hadn't shifted unduly or greatly or whatever. I mean, I don't know about that, but actually I do know a little bit about that because I had an in-ground pool when I lived on, had the house on Fenway Road for a while. What a pain in the ass. It's not worth the trouble. Anyway, so I go out in the pool and then, I take my pants off, swimming trunks. Well, it's not swimming trunks so much as it's just I don't know what it was, actually. Jogging shorts or something, I don't know. And set them up on the edge of the pool and then paddle around, dog paddle and swim. But at that point, I had a lot of trouble with my dislocating shoulder, my left shoulder. And so I really couldn't, I could use this arm all the time, all I wanted. This arm I had to kind of, of course I could kick. I could kick fine. So, I mean, I kind of, it was fun. It was fun, And so I always like to stand by the water jet vent. The water jet comes out. And so I got sort of standing there in the right way, and it occurred to me, this actually feels pretty good. Put the dogs and kids away. And so I thought, I just wonder if I could hold, if I hold my dick in this thing long enough in the right way, I'll shoot off. I just say that, yeah, I did, because that's the case. I am not the only person in the history of the human race that has done this. So sure enough, I stood there and held my dick into this stream coming at me. It was coming out pretty fast too. Well, it's a water jet for a swimming pool, And in time, bingo. You can see the stuff sort of floating off, or starting to dissipate. All right, I may have done it twice. Maybe I did about an hour later. I don't know. I sure like to swim in that pool. So, all right. So then I don't know. Over the course of the afternoon, got up, got dressed. Brad came home. His wife came home. So he goes out in the evening, late afternoon. Of course, it's summertime, so it'd be long towards 7:30, 8 o'clock. And to check the water, check the pH and this and that, the chlorine and whatever you check with all that crap. Well, I cut myself. Good Lord, man! It started. So actually, I hadn't noticed this. Well, I had, but I didn't really register. Long about 4 o'clock, I happened to wander down there just before he got home, and I noticed the water was looking really, really cloudy. I mean, really cloudy. In a way that it hadn't done, say 3 hours before. When I got out. And oh, I forgot to mention I may have taken a couple of leaks too in that pool. So it was quite cloudy. You couldn't quite see the bottom. Actually, I was impressed. I hadn't set out to do that, believe you me. So he gets out all these little chemicals and things. It's like he has to go to the side room and open up a couple of fresh bags of stuff and start shoveling it into this pool. Then of course he retested, after he put a few shovelfuls, retest. I thought, good Lord, I must have really potent crap inside me. Maybe I was flattering myself. So those are my my New Year's stories, YouTubers. And so on that note, I'll wish you all a good, safe celebration tonight. Bye-bye now.